All right. Well, we're going to have a big bros, bumps, and beers. Welcome to the host of Nick at Night on KISS 102.3, the owner of Cynickal Media and beer collaborator, Sarah Nick. So we'd like to thank Sarah for coming on to meet with us virtually to discuss her new beer collaboration with our friends at One Great City.
Yay!
Now, Sarah, the first question I have to ask you with that big introduction is, when do you sleep?
Okay, it's funny because I knew someone was going to ask that. I don't sleep. I think I sleep like 4 hours a night, and I'm not even kidding when I say that, because when I'm not on the radio, I'm apparently collaborating and launching beers now, and working with the community on pretty much everything and anything.
We're going to talk about our favorite thing, which is beer, because that's,
Yeah.
I mean, that's what the podcast is about. So before we even get to your collaboration with One Great City, like before this, what was your like go-to brewery, go-to beer before we even started up?
Okay, so I do love One Great City. Love the guys there. They're awesome. They always drop really good beers as well. But I was always Little Brown Jug 1919.
Pretty good.
That's
Pretty good.
one of my favorite beers in the city. And I don't know what it is about Winnipeg, but the craft beers here are amazing. Like, I was in Edmonton for a long time, and their craft beers are shitty. Oh my God. So like moving here and getting to try all the different ones here, I was like, holy moly. So I stopped drinking Bud Light. I said, see ya, Bud Light. We're moving on to the big guys. I love Queen's Best Bitter. Sorry, my dog is going insane. I love Queen's Best Bitter. I also love Belgian Blonde as well from Non-Smudge.
Yeah.
Ooh,
So
yeah.
I like more of the earthy tones, which is weird that I dropped like a Christmas beer.
I think that's actually like in the before times when I was allowed to go to Edmonton and other places as well. I actually completely agree that like Winnipeg, I think, has the best beer scene, craft beer scene in Canada. Like I'll say that outright compared to
Better than Toronto, Jordan?
Yeah, I think so. I think it has a lot more diversity here.
Better?
Like, no, I mean Toronto can't be the best at everything. Only most things.
So
Fine, Matt. Fine. I want to ask a question, Matt. But you go ahead.
you want to
It's
ask a
always
question?
what
You ask the question then. I mean, whatever.
I do
That's
want to
still my
ask a
question, but that's fine.
I mean, I want to get into the business of this. All right. This is the Jordan corner, and he wants to know what this is all about. All right. So
Can't bet on it, Jordan.
yet. I want to know the details like behind the collaboration a bit in terms of like how the contact began, because I find that to be so curious. Like, was there someone you knew, or how did that get going?
Okay, so this is like a really weird story. So I got fired, right? I'm pretty sure everybody knows that. And so
I didn't know that.
nobody knew that, right? So on social media, I basically like got this army to tag me in all this random stuff, and they wanted me to do all these random things with the community. And one person in particular, so when I launched my Nick at Night show, the post said something along the lines of on Twitter saying like, instead of drinking coffee, we're going to be drinking beers at night, right? Somebody randomly like threaded onto that, tagged One Great City Brewing Company and said, hey, you guys should do a beer collaboration. And I remember being like, yeah, right. Like, see, I put my phone down, and then One Great City ended up messaging me on Twitter. And that's kind of how it all came together. They're like, do you actually want to do this? I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Of course I want to do this.
I get my own beer? Are you serious?
Yeah, so that's kind of how it all came together, which was really sweet. And like, I didn't really have any idea what the hell to do with a brewing company. I've never done anything like this. So we went step by step. It was a very long process, actually.
Yeah.
Like, we were talking in September, and we just launched right before Christmas.
So how do you, so that was going to be my follow-up, and I'm glad you brought into it. How do you pick the style and flavors? Like, you probably didn't go in like being like, I want a lager. Like, you probably just let them run through. So did they have some ideas and you kind of picked what you liked?
Yeah, so how it worked is they wanted to launch a winter beer, and I'm like, okay, dark beer's not my favorite thing. I'm amber, right? So I was arguing with them. I'm like, I don't want a dark beer. My girls are not going to sit there and crush 12 dark beers. They'd be in the hospital, right? So I wanted to do something like a little bit light, but yet have like the darkness that One Great City wanted, right? I got to pick the flavoring, actually, which was really cool. So they're like, what like screams, I guess, Christmas and winter too? I'm like, well, I don't know, like mom's baking. So like cinnamon, pecans, things like that, right? So they kind of came up with a formula for me, and they gave me a bunch of different options to pick from. and we landed on the oatmeal, like brown cookie, cinnamon, pecan weird mixture that was still a dark beer, but I made them make it so it was not dark. I'm like, I do not want it to be like this hardcore dude beer. Like, I want it to be a nice beer that everybody can enjoy.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I taste it, and it's dark. Like, it is super dark when you pour it, but it tastes really light, and like doesn't have that dark beer punch in the face that a lot of them do.
It's not like you're eating a meal.
And like, I'm not obviously like, I don't like make the beer. A lot of people have asked me that, which is really strange. Like,
really?
Beer on the side, like, God knows. So I wouldn't have time for that. So the guy who ended up like brewing it for me, he like made this really nice combination, and all credit goes to him, to be honest. So
you were happy with the finished product?
Yeah, I was worried though. I'm not even gonna lie, because I didn't taste the product, you guys, until like the day before it launched. So I remembered like talking to my girlfriends and stuff, and I'm like, what if I drop this beer and it tastes like shit? Like, what am I gonna do, right?
I was
like,
just gonna say that.
Right? I'm like, I the flavoring, my name's on this freaking can. Like, it tastes like garbage. People aren't gonna want to talk to me. Like, I'm gonna be known as a loser who dropped his shit beer. So I basically was like, okay, I'm trying this before I'm posting anything about this beer. Yeah. And I tried it, and I was like, oh, it's so good. Sorry, my dog.
I think you get the flavor with this because it's a very distinct flavor. I would put it in that category of like an oatmeal stout. And I feel like when you get an oatmeal stout, you're expecting a certain distinction to the oatmeal stout, but this has, I would say, more oatmeal stout, quote unquote, flavor than any oatmeal stout I've had, while being lighter. Like, it really is a very different tasting beer, but it's not. That's what I'm saying. Is like, this is a flavor you'd find in an oatmeal stout, but it isn't. It isn't, and I think that's a major credit to it, because you get that flavor without the weight, which isn't something I think you see too much nowadays in the market.
Okay, full disclosure though, Sarah. Rachel at One Great City, shout out Rachel. She messaged us like, we're dropping this beer, like, you guys should check it out. And I kind of put two and two together through your socials and their socials. And I was like, man, and like, no offense, but I was like, they're gonna drop some chick beer. And I was like, oh, and we're gonna have to drink it, and we're gonna have to review it, and we're gonna have to pretend to like it. And then I tried this, and I was like, no, this isn't a chick beer. This is everybody can drink this beer. And I felt kind of dumb that I felt like that.
That's totally what I was going for. And like, side note, like, I don't like fruit beers. I don't like sours. So that was I know. I'm an earth
monster
kind of vibe. I know. So I told them specifically, I was like, no sours. Like, I don't want, like, my girlfriends were like, oh my God, drop a sour. I'm like, no, I'm not dropping a sour. I don't like sours. Like, why would I drop something that I don't like? Like, to please you? We're going to drop something that's like fun for everyone. So I'm glad it worked out.
And I mean, like, awesome. You, like, for me, whenever I'm reviewing a beer on our show, it's like, is the can drawing me in? This is like the coolest fucking can I've seen in a while. Mm-hmm. First of all, I'd like to just like, because you have a media company that you call Cynickal, and me being dumb didn't realize that your name was in the name, and then I figured that out later.
Holy shit!
So
God damn it! I just figured that out too.
This is my empty can, so I'm gonna like I'll break it down for you.
Yeah, break it down. Yeah,
Sarah, is this not how you typically spell cynical?
This is not how you spell cynical. Okay,
son
of
a bitch.
A really funny story, actually. So I was on my way to Alberta in like September. And One Great City called me while we were driving, right? So it's a 12-hour drive, and I expected them to call me. So Riley and I, we were going back and forth. I'm like, I need to come up with a name like right now, because they're going to ask me what they want to call this beer. And like, we've had a 12-hour drive. Let's figure it out. So we kind of was like hashing out some ideas, and like that was when I had to confirm the flavoring and all that kind of stuff. And so I told them, I was like, I really want like my name on the can. I was like, I don't really have a name yet, but I really want my name on the can, and I want to do the cinnamon and the pecan kind of flavoring. So we hang up from them, and literally like 2 minutes later, Riley looks at me, he's like, what do you think about Cynickal? And I was like, oh bitch, yes. So like incorporates like the cinnamon, that's like the sin, right? And then Nick, my last name, obviously Cynickal spelled different. And we kind of just went with that. And then we launched my company actually after we came up with the beer name. Yeah. So it's very weird. Yeah, I know. We just launched Cynickal. Like, I think it was in October, I officially launched Cynickal,
Absolutely.
and I used the name, and I was like, this is a great cross promotion.
Yeah.
So I felt like that was going to boost my business probably the best.
But where does the owl come in? Is just because like you're Nick at night and you're at night?
Yeah, so the owl part actually came from, so I met with One Great City once I came back from Alberta, like a couple days after or whatever. And we were like, okay, what kind of design, like what colors, whatever, what do you want on the can? And I'm like, I'm not a very colorful person. So I was like, I want like dark, like fun colors, but I don't need like pinks and yellows and make it look like an Easter egg. Like I don't want that. So we picked like a dark purple, which kind of aligned with Kiss. And then the owl comes from, being at nighttime, crack open a beer at night. And then I wanted like the eyes to pop. Yeah. So I was like hypnotized, like cinnamon buns almost. So that's kind of where the eyes come in.
That makes sense. No, I love the coloring. I love everything. It's like the first thing I'm looking for in a good beer. It's like, am I enticed to grab the can just to look at?
And I thought it was really different because, you see cans everywhere they're all unique in their own way. And I was like, okay, I need to have like a picture of something on there. I don't want it just to have like my name. People are gonna be like, who the hell is Sarah Nick and why do I want this beer, right? Which is fine. I get it. That's fine. So I was like, an owl is like a really cool like way to tie it all in almost.
Yeah.
The response was pretty good. Like actually it was huge. Like we have tons of friends who picked it up the first weekend. They really wanted to grab it. And I'm not just saying that because you're sitting here, like legit. Actually, one of our buddies last night that we were on a Zoom call with, he said that you were at the queue the day it was released, the Quality Inn.
Oh, yeah, I was there. Okay, yeah, that was a fun day.
And you said to him, like, hey, you should try my beer. And he's like, she basically bullied me into buying 4 of them. And I was like, that's awesome. That is awesome.
Amazing. Okay, so non-disclosure, because I don't care, I'm on a podcast, so it's fine. I'm not on the radio. Okay, I got shit-faced the night before on Cynickal. Okay, like, I mean obliterated, because I knew it was going to drop at Quality Inn. And I'm like, well, we're going to celebrate, baby. So we're like getting drunk at home, whatever, doing our thing. And the next day we're like, okay, let's go on a venture and go see where they're at, like which LCs they're at or what beer stores are at. And we knew it was at Quality. So we showed up there. I looked haggard. Oh my God, you guys, I was on like 2 hours of sleep. Hung to the tits. It was insane. So we go into this beer store and there was flats of Cynickal, and I'm like, this is the coolest thing ever, right? So we're picking up a few, and then your guys' friend, which is super funny, he was standing there and picking out cans right beside my beer, but not my beer. And I was like, oh, you bitch. I'm like, get the beer, right? So Riley looked at him right away. He's like, yo, you should get that beer. It's hers. And he's like, okay. Like,
this is 100% our friend.
It was wild. Yeah. It was so cool.
So you were happy with
Can I jump in for a second here?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Got a question. Once you have your collaboration with beers, my question is, just being someone who really loves beer, how many cans do they give you?
I requested to have a lot of cans. They're going to give me 2 flats, okay, which is nice. That's great. And that's going to go to like my friends and family back in Alberta. When we can go over there, we're going to drive out cans. But then I got a huge order from Alberta. So I'm actually, after this podcast, going to every single LC I can to make packs of this beer that I could not get my hands on, because One Great City sold out as of, I think, on Thursday. So I need to go and like buy a bunch of this beer for people back home that couldn't like do the transfer over the borders or over the provinces and all that. So yeah, I'm going to be on an adventure tonight, but I do have some for myself. They did supply me with like a bunch like for the launch and all that stuff too. So I have been cynical almost out. I've had a lot of them.
I love it.
So you were happy with the response, obviously, the general public and everything? And
yeah, like it's been really, like, I mean, it would be really shitty if someone went out of their way to be like, hey, I don't like your beer, or I don't like you. Like that sucks. That happens a lot. But I didn't really for this launch, which I was like, okay, that's good. Like people actually like it, which I'm really stoked about, and went and bought it and supported me. And now LCs are buying it. So that makes me super happy.
No, absolutely.
I mean, is this something that you would consider like doing again for sure? Or was this just like too stressful almost to putting your name on something and not knowing what the response would be?
You know what? It wasn't that stressful. Like One Great City did a really great job, no pun, of like actually like, you know, keeping in contact with me and keeping me updated. Like this whole process was, I guess, very new to me. So I didn't really have any stress because I didn't know what to compare it to. So I would definitely do it again. I would love to do like a summer launch though, just to have like a different, like I don't like the Christmas beer is great, like that's super cool and fun, but the summertime is when I want to go and like go on a float or whatever and like crack a beer open or sit in the backyard in the sun, right? So yeah, I would definitely do it again. And I've learned a lot of different things I can do, and like I've learned lots of different terminology that I can use. So yeah, hopefully we can do something again. I don't know if it'd be with One Great City or where it'd be next, but I'm open to whatever.
Awesome.
What I did learn from you here is that they need to contact you for collaboration. Me calling them 4 or 5 times like I've done in the past, they just don't collaborate with anybody. So
Okay.
it's not really fair.
Okay, so I'm open here. You guys can just DM me whenever. We'll do another collaboration.
One last question before we let you get out of here. My mind keeps going to, I believe it was a story post you had. I believe it was New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve, one or the other, of you in a Raptors onesie.
Oh.
So
Yeah.
2 questions. Number 1.
She fucking jinxed us. That's what she did. Shit this year.
Number 1, how many Cynickals did you drink before putting that onesie on? And number 2, who's your favorite Raptors player?
Kyle Lowry. I'll answer that first. And then
Nice.
okay, Cynicals before the Raptors game, because I believe Team Canada played prior to that, right? Okay, yeah. So I was probably about 70 and
That's
about
awesome.
like 30 mimosas. We got lit up that night.
Love it.
Sarah
Love
puts
that.
them away like
Yeah.
we do.
Holy
She would give us a run, I think.
I put them away, but do I actually put them away? I was like laying on the couch before like midnight. I'm pretty sure that was on New Year's. I was like, all right, that's good. I'm done. I'm tapped out.
I mean, what else are we supposed to do? You know, like,
Right?
like seriously.
I mean, I followed your content on your Instagram, and it's like you pump out content. Like you did the wing eating challenge. You forced your boyfriend to go on a walk before the Steelers game.
That sounds like hell.
Big girlfriend move there. Sorry to
Yeah.
hear about the Steelers,
Yeah.
but it's just like you've been like, what have you been doing in lockdown? That's just to keep yourself sane.
You know what? I've got into video editing like a lot more. Like I learned that skill obviously through broadcasting and stuff like that. But now that I'm home, I'm like, hey, why don't I utilize these skills, work on them, get better at them, so I can keep launching all this like fun content. And it's fun doing that. Like the wing eating challenge was so awesome because we got beer and wings, and like who doesn't want to do that on camera? It's super fun. And I got to edit. So it was like the best of like all 3 worlds combined. So yeah, we've just been kind of doing creative stuff. We're seeing like what's trending, what people are liking. Like social media obviously is a big platform for me. So I like to really use like my followers. Like, what do you guys want to see? Like, if you guys want to see something specific, I'll make it for you. I'll drop it. If we don't like it, then we'll do something different next time.
Yeah.
Do you another question I'd love to know is like, do you kind of use your social media presence as an example of what you can do through Cynickal? Like, do you try to make that something where people can really take a look at what you put out online and the content and be that almost as an advocate for your business venture?
Yes, absolutely. So like Cynickal is very interesting. So I launched this company actually after I got fired, I was like, okay, I got to come up with something, because Rogers came knocking not long after, but I was like, what am I going to do in between? Like, I need to do something here, right? So Cynickal basically is like everything that I can do, like media-wise. I can pump out a company through my platform, my personal one. I can use Cynickal and like do web design, all of that fun stuff. So yeah, I cross-promote the 2 quite a bit, just depending on like what the client wants. Is kind of the avenue that I would take, whether it's my personal social media I'm going to use or whether it's like the Cynickal platform.
Right on. Well, yeah. So Sarah, thank you so much for meeting with us on Zoom. You are probably one of the busiest people I've known. So thanks for making some time for us. Let us talk about our favorite thing, beer. And you could pick up some Cynickal at select LCs, which will probably be gone because apparently Sarah's going to go around the city and buy them all.
No, go buy them. I won't buy them all.
You can pick them up at LCs across Winnipeg. So hurry up, get out there, pick them up. And once again, thanks a lot, Sarah, Nick, for joining us on Bros, Bumps, and Beers. And after the break, we're going to do our Royal Rumble preview show.